Hey, Katie. All right, we'll see how many people we get tonight. We've got a lot of international people who follow this project, and I think a lot of them are asleep. All right, so we'll get started. I'm going to turn off comments. Just so that there's the space on the screen for you to see me. And this is going to be uploaded to YouTube and also to the Banteay Srey page, and it'll be on my account for 24 hours. So people who missed it can watch afterwards, and you'll see on the Banteay Srey page that there are some other teachers doing classes this week as well. There's a group of us that have been volunteering with the project over the past couple of years. The spa is located in Cambodia, in Kampot. And as you know, I volunteered there at the beginning of 2019, and it was an amazing experience. We worked with the girls on, there's Khmer women who are employed at the spa, and it really supports their professional development and growth and also their career. A lot of them bring home salaries that support all generations of their family, from their children to their grandparents. So we are doing these yoga classes in support of them during this time while they're closed, to support them with some salaries or their salaries. And we're also doing some online English and yoga work with them in Cambodia too. So we'll get started. We're going to do a really gentle flow, and yeah, we'll just enjoy it, this post-work flow. I've been sitting at my desk in meetings all day, so just a nice class to loosen up the body and the joints and just get ourselves nice and stretched out. And if you want to know more information about the project, you can head to the link in my profile. All right, I will check in on the comments if there's any questions throughout. So let's get started on our backs on our mat. So we'll lie down flat on the mat. The feet spread nice and wide, the hands just on the belly. And then we'll start to inhale and exhale, expanding through the center of the body. And then releasing down. Feeling the weight of the legs, the pelvis, the rib cage, the shoulders, the head into the mat as we inhale and exhale. To ground our body into the floor and to find our breath after maybe a long day sitting down. Maybe hunched over our computers. It can feel really nice just to lie flat, to open up the shoulders, the chest. Taking a few more deep breaths, just lying here, feeling the belly expand on the inhale and release on the exhale. Two more breaths. And one last one, inhaling. And release to exhale. From here, lifting the arms up above the chest. We'll take the right arm, lifting the right shoulder up. So peeling that shoulder up off of the mat, reaching the fingertips towards the ceiling, and then bringing them back down. Shifting to the other side, the left shoulder left arm lifts up, and then lowers back down. Switching from side to side, we'll shift up, peeling the shoulder blade off of the mat, and then placing it back down. like you're reaching for something you can't quite grasp. We'll do that a few more times, opposite sides, so alternating sides. And then we'll lift both arms up and down. So arms lift, shoulders lift, and then lower them back down. 3 more times we'll lift the arms, the shoulders up, and then lower them back down. For 2 more. And one last one, lifting up, and then lowering them down. We'll do the same thing, but the arms come overhead this time. So keeping the rib cage nice and planted, we'll lift the left shoulder up towards the ear, reaching the left fingertips further than the right, and then bringing them back down. And switching to the other side, the right shoulder lifts, shrugs up to the ear, and then back down. Keep moving from side to side, shrugging that shoulder, and feeling the shoulder blades slide up and down the mat. Up and down. A few more side to side. And then one more maybe to the right or the left, and then we'll lift both on the next round. So shrugging both ears up to the shoulders and then lowering them back down. 3 more times we'll shrug those shoulders up and then lower them back down. For 2 more. And one last one, shrug the shoulders up, reach the fingertips away from you, and then lower them down. And then from here, we'll walk the hands over to the right top corner of the mat. So we're kind of coming into a side bend with the upper body. And then the right toes come to the right bottom corner of the mat. So coming into a nice side, little banana-shaped stretch. So the left side of the body will feel nice and lengthened and stretched out, and the right side is sort of closing in towards each other, the hands to the feet. Holding here for a few more breaths, really reaching those fingers for the top corner and the toes to the bottom corner. And then we'll move to the other side. So walking the feet to the left corner of the mat and the hands to the left top corner. Now we're taking this banana shape onto the other side. Feeling length through the right side body as we arch through the left. 2 more breaths. And then finding center again. From here, we'll reach the arms down beside the hips. And then just walking the feet in towards the sit bones. I'm just going to turn down the music a little bit that I have playing. Good, and then from here, with our feet, knees bent. Here we go. Got a lot of Bluetooth going on right now. Okay, so from here, the feet are walking in. The heels are close towards the sit bones. We're going to lengthen through the spine, or find some length and some stretch and mobility and traction through the spine through this next set of movements. So from here, we'll just do some pelvic tilting. So tilting the pelvis under, hip bones towards the face, and then tilting the pelvis away from us. So the sit bones down towards the floor. So bringing those hip bones in and then back. And the body might shift as we do this. So we're imprinting our entire spine into the floor, the sit bones slightly lift off of the mat, and then again back. So if you've done class with me before, you might know this movement, this pelvic tilting. It's really nice to notice where our spine is sticky, where it might need a little bit of TLC. A few more times we'll pelvic tilts. Just back and forth, noticing the hip bones, the sit bones as they shift forward and back. And then from here, with the feet planted into the mat, we'll find a neutral spine. So somewhere in between those two movements. So the hip bones are nice and flat on the floor. The rib cage, or sorry, the hip bones, the pelvis is nice and flat on the floor. The rib cage is nice and flat on the floor. Our feet are nice and planted. And taking a moment to find our feet. So we should feel the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the outer edge of the heel, and the inner edge of the heel flat on the mat. So pressing into those strong feet, we're going to start to tuck that tailbone under, tilting the pelvis forward, and then slowly lift the tailbone up off of the mat, slowly rolling up the spine just until we reach the bottom of the rib cage. So holding here, using some nice core engagement, feeling a bit of lengthening through the front of the legs, squeezing through the glutes and pressing into those feet. Holding here for a moment. And then slowly tucking that tailbone under, we'll just place that spine bone by bone back down on the mat, finding that neutral position. We're going to do that 3 more times, tucking the tailbone under, lifting the hips up, lengthening through the front of the body and squeezing through the strength in the back of the legs, the glutes, and just coming up to where our lowest rib cage hits the floor. Lowest part of the rib cage hits the floor. And then from here, slowly lowering down vertebrae by vertebrae. I'm going to stumble over my words today because I've been in meetings for hours. We'll tuck the tailbone under and do that 2 more times. So we're just lifting the lower half of the spine, or the lower part of the spine, up off of the mat as we do this, but we're finding some really nice core engagement, and then lowering back down. Let's do that 1 more time. So we tuck the tailbone under, we lift the pelvis, the hips, the spine up off of the floor just to the bottom of the rib cage. Holding here. Squeezing those glutes, not forgetting about that. And then lowering everything back down. And then from here, we'll tuck the tailbone under and we'll lift again, this time moving a little bit higher up the back. So we feel the bottom half of the back lift up off of the mat, and then we'll slowly start to peel the rib cage, the spine, up off of the mat, coming to about the shoulder blades here. So keeping the chin nice and tucked, even more strength through the legs. We find even more extension through the front of the hips, and we're really pressing into those feet. So from here, really squeezing through the glutes. And then we'll slowly lower that all the way back down. So let's do that full hip bridge 3 more times. So tucking the tailbone under, lifting the hips up, pressing the feet into the mat, strong. Through the core, noticing where the sticky parts of the spine are. So when I say that, I mean where those parts of the spine that are coming off of the mat in big chunks. So maybe there's a part of your back that feels a little bit sticky. And then when we lower it down, we can really notice that too. If we're trying to place bone by bone back down on the mat really slowly until we reach the tailbone, we can see where that part of the spine might be a little bit sticky. 2 more times, we'll lift up. And on the last one, we'll hold. So this is our last up and down, really strong through those legs, and then lowering everything back down. We'll take a breath at the bottom here. And as we exhale all the air out, we'll tuck that tailbone under, lift the hips up, finding that hip bridge position. So from here, we have nice strength through the legs, extension through the front of the hips. And then we're going to imagine dragging our heels back towards us. So it's not actually going to happen, but we'll start to feel maybe a cramp like I just did. Start to feel some engagement through the backs of the legs. So imagine you're dragging your heels back towards your face. I'm getting a cramp in the right side of my leg. So we're strong through the backs of the legs, strong through the glutes, and we're imagining we're dragging the feet towards us. And then we're going to shift that feeling and imagine we're pushing our feet away from us. So we're creating a little bit of traction here. And the upper body might move a little bit as we do this. So now we're pushing those toes away from us, pushing those feet away from us. And then again, switch back to dragging the feet towards the head, towards the shoulders. And then pushing those feet away. So tiny shift might happen in the upper body here. We're still strong through the glutes, strong through the legs. One more time, dragging the heels towards us. And then pushing the feet away. And then from here, we'll slowly lower everything down. I'm sorry if you got a hamstring cramp too. Mine was pretty intense there. And we'll just bring the knees in towards the chest and just rock from side to side, massaging out the spine. So maybe noticing if you feel more length through the spine now, through the back line of the body. And then from here, we'll bring the knees right over top of the hips. So we're creating a little table shape with the legs. The feet are directly out from the knees. And that neutral spine, again, so the lower back might lift off of the mat. We're finding that nice neutral spine. So there's no imprint here where we're tucking the pelvis or tucking the tailbone. We're just finding a nice neutral spine. So from here, placing the hands onto the thighs, we'll start to resist the legs back into the hands and the hands into the legs. So this might start to light up the core. And just notice how this feels. Maybe there's a little bit of shaking, really creating resistance between the hands to the legs and the legs to the hands. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here. And one last one. And then just bring the knees into the chest for a moment. Maybe taking some knee circles. So like we're drawing 2 circles, big circles on the ceiling. Knees come away from us and then back together and in towards the chest. And then in the other direction, drawing those nice big circles, opening up through the hips. And then bringing the knees back into that tabletop position we explored. This time, reaching the arms up overhead. So that movement that we explored at the beginning of class. And then from here, we'll just take the right arm back behind us, all the way so the thumb taps the floor and then comes back up. And then shifting to the left side, left hand back and up. From here, we'll tap the right toes down and back up. And then the left toes. Let's do that one more time on each side, keeping strong through the core. Right arm back. Left arm back. Right toe taps. And the left toe taps. All right, coming back to center, we'll alternate arm and leg. So right arm goes back as left leg goes forward. And then back to center, shifting sides. Let's do a few more side to side, really staying strong through the core. If you can't, drop that leg all the way down without lifting that upper back and arching the back a little bit. Just keep lowering it down about halfway. That's fine too. Whatever your body is feeling today, just noticing, breathing, and honoring where you're at. Let's do 3 more. And the knees back into center, just rocking from side to side. And then slowly, however you'd like to get there, we'll find our way up to seated. So you could bring the arm above your head and just bring your hand down to the floor and roll up from here. Or you can rock all the way up. Awesome. So I'm just going to check in to make sure that all is working. Cool. All right, so from here, we're going to find a tabletop position. And in our tabletop position, finding the wrists underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips, we'll just rock forward and back, transferring weight into the hands and then into the shins, into the knees, the tops of the feet. This time finding some movement. Similar position to how we were on our backs, but now we have the floor underneath us, so completely different orientation to gravity here. Rather than using our strength to hold our arms and legs up, we have gravity to help us. And then let's find our way back to center. Pressing the hands into the floor. We'll slowly start to tuck that tailbone under, creating a cat shape with the spine, tucking the chin in towards the chest. And then belly goes down towards the floor, lifting the gaze up, arching through the back. We'll move through cat and cow a few times, so you can close the eyes here and really use your breath. Let's do 3 more. And one more time. Like there's a string pulling your spine up, mid-spine up all the way towards the ceiling. And then the same, the belly button down to the floor. And then from here, coming to sit back onto the heels. We'll interlace the fingers and we'll just give the wrists a nice little massage. And then shaking out the hands, we'll just start to flick the fingers. So flicking them like we're flicking water off of our hands, lighting up our forearms, waking up our forearms. Really good if you've been sitting on a computer typing. We'll do this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shaking it out. And then from here, finding our tabletop position again. This time I will face you so you can see what I'm about to do with my hands. So we'll move into a little bit of wrist work. So turning the right hand, the right fingertips towards the right knee. Pressing into both hands, nice and firmly, so the arms are still straight. And we'll slowly bring the hips back towards the heels as we peel the palm of the hand off of the floor, reaching that finger out to the side, or thumb out to the side. And as the palm lifts and the finger pads press into the mat, we'll curl that thumb in towards the palm of the hand and extend it back out. 3 more times, curling in, extending out for 2, and 1. Peeling the hand up off of the floor, giving it a nice shake, and switching to the other side, turning the hand round, pressing both hands firmly into the floor. And then we'll slowly start to hinge back at the hips, peeling that palm off of the mat, pressing into the fingertips. And then from here, we'll curl the thumb in towards the palm of the hand and extend it back out. 3 more times, curling in and out for 2 and 1. Let's shake it out. And then we'll gently turn the fingertips towards each other, the palms towards the face. And you can walk the hands back towards the knees if this is a lot of pressure on the wrists. We're going to curl the fingertips into fists and then extend them back out. 3 more times, curling in, extending out for 2. And 1 last one. And then we'll do that again, but bending the elbows for 3 times. For 2. And 1 last one, bending the elbows, extending back up, sitting back towards the heels and just giving the hands a nice shake. And then from here, we'll find a tabletop position, but with the elbows down onto the floor. So the forearms will come onto the floor. We'll give the wrists a little bit of a break. Now you might want to extend the foot off of the mat for this. We'll just take a few ankle circles, but as we do this, think about pressing all the corners of the feet into the mat, the top of the foot, the outer arch of the foot, the inner arch, and the ball of the foot. So we're really finding a full rotation of the ankle, pressing it into the ground. And moving in the other direction. Still firmly pressing those forearms into the floor. And then we'll switch to the other foot. So extending that leg out and then finding those nice ankle circles. Or ankle smushes, as my teacher calls them. And switching to the other direction. And then bringing that knee back in. From here, we'll just find some hip circles. So pressing firmly into that left supporting leg. We'll bring the right knee in towards the chest. And then open out to the side. And then kick the foot back behind us. Pressing that foot up towards the ceiling and then coming back into center. 2 more times we'll move in this direction. So opening that foot out to the side. Kicking that foot all the way back and bringing the knee back in. So we're opening up the hip and then bringing it back to a square position. And we'll move to the other direction. So first we kick it back and up, out to the side, and then in. 2 more times. From here, placing the right knee down, we'll just find a child's pose, taking a few breaths in center. Maybe your child's pose, the knees go the width of the mat, so you can leave space in between to breathe really nice and deeply through the belly. And then coming back up onto our elbows, onto our forearms. This time we'll move to the left with those hip circles, so knee comes in towards the chest and then opens out to the side, kicking that foot back and up behind us, and then back to center. 2 more times in this direction. And then we'll move the other way, so leg kicks up and back, over to the side, and then back. For 2 more. Let's do 1 more for good measure. And then knee comes back down. This time we will come into a wide-legged child's pose, stretching the arms forward, placing the head between the elbows, the hands, the arms. And then from here, pressing into the hands. So the gaze goes down towards the mat. Just gotta put my hair up here. So the gaze goes down towards the mat. We're still in kind of a halfway child's pose. The chest, the shoulders still pointing down. From here, we'll take the right thumb, point it up towards the ceiling. And then reaching that arm up beside the ear, as we sweep it beside the ear, we turn the palm out to the side, and then reach the arm all the way back to that back hip, bending the elbow, trying to tap between the shoulder blades, and then back forward. So everything else is still in that same stable position. We're just finding movement through the shoulder, the arm, and the elbow. Let's do that 2 more times on this side. Imagine there's a wall beside you. You're trying not to touch it, trying to sweep past it. And 1 last one. Gaze goes down towards the floor, so we're not cranking the neck up. We'll bring that hand down and take 3 breaths in the middle here. And then pressing into the hands, we'll lift the elbows up, switching to the other side. So the left arm comes up beside the ear, reach that arm up and back, and then tap between the shoulder blades, and then all the way forward. 3 more times, staying strong and stable through the rest of the body as we move through the shoulder, finding that shoulder rotation. And noticing if one side feels different than the other. Maybe you have more mobility in your dominant arm, your dominant hand. Maybe it's the same, maybe you practice a lot of this. I think my left shoulder is less mobile than my right as we place the hand down here, finding a relaxed child's pose, letting the arms release down to the floor. And then slowly finding your way up to standing. So from here, you can walk the hands back towards the feet. And then roll all the way up to standing. And just checking on our time here. Awesome, okay. So, from here, we're just going to look down to the feet and start to plant those feet into the mat like we did before. So this time it's from a standing position. We're placing that big toe mound into the floor, the little toe mound, and the outer and inner edges of the heel. So we're finding those 3-4 points and feeling really firm and grounded into the mat. Feet can be about hip distance apart here. And then from here, we're going to start to wiggle our big toe. So see if you can lift it up and down. This takes a little bit of mental work, as well as mobility work through the feet. And then plant that big toe and see if maybe you can lift all the other toes up and down. Notice what happens. Notice if you're having trouble with this, or if you're maybe not mentally or maybe not physically able to lift them, you're just mentally able to imagine them lifting up and down. What it might take to get there. And then we'll plant the toes down, we'll lift the big toe up and down. Notice what's tensing up in the rest of your body as you do this. And then placing that toe down, we'll lift all the toes up and down one more time. And then from here, I'm just going to adjust the my little tripod here so that you guys can see the upper part of my body. It should be enough. All right, so from here, we are going to lift or cross the arms across the body. And we'll slowly start to come into a forward fold. So the lower half of the body isn't moving as we do this, it's nice and stable. So as you can see, I'm just coming into this little halfway forward fold. The arms kind of stop me from going much further than this. And then from here, I'm going to turn the chest over towards my right foot. And then I'll come into a side bend, all the way back and around, finding a little mini back bend, over towards the left, and then pointing my chest down towards the foot, and then back to center. And we'll do the same thing the other direction. So the chest goes towards the left foot this time, left side bend, and then all the way back and around, over towards the right. So we're moving our spine all different directions as we do these circles. And we'll come back up into center. So we'll do one more on each side, coming into that little mini forward fold. And then looking over towards the right foot, bending over to the right side, all the way back and around, over to the left. And then the chest comes down, back to center. One more time, this time moving over to the left, left side bend, all the way back and around, over to the right, pointing down towards the right foot, back to center, rolling ourselves up. And then we'll reach the arms up overhead so that the elbows cross, or the hands cross over to catch opposite elbow. And then from here, making sure our feet are nice and grounded and planted, we'll move over to the left side, finding a nice side bend. And then over towards the right. And then let's revisit center again and just find a bit more length. So reaching those elbows maybe up and away from us. If we can't quite reach the elbows, just grabbing for the forearms as well. We all have different arm lengths here. And then from here again, we'll find that side bend. And then we'll start to circle the body all the way around. So we're coming a little bit deeper than we did before. And then moving over to the other side, finding a nice side bend on this side and back to center. Switching directions over to the side, really reaching those arms away from the top of the head. Full circle around. And then backing up. Back to center. Releasing the arms out to the side. And then from here, we'll take the arms into this kind of wide position here. So reaching the hands out to the side. So from here, I'm going to open the right hand or the left hand up towards the ceiling. So I'm externally rotating through that arm. And then I'm going to reach the right shoulder. So internally rotate through the right shoulder. Bring that down. So my left hand is up, my shoulder's externally rotated, and my right arm is internally rotated. So I'm kind of in this awkward position, and I'm slowly going to reach over to the left, and then switch sides. So opposite arm internally rotates and externally rotates. So I've got my left arm open, my right arm turned in, or my opposite direction. So just switching sides, whatever arm you didn't do. Switching from side to side, and we're just reaching for something beside us. Finding this nice lateral movement side to side. We've got some funky beats to move through. 4 more times, reaching side to side. And one last one, really reaching. And then back to center. We'll just release the arms down. Give the arms a nice little shake out. How much time do we have here? Okay, so one last thing we'll do standing. We're going to create fists with the hands and really pull them down towards the floor. So you'll feel a lot of length through the neck, through the shoulders. And from here, we'll start to bring the chin in towards the chest. And then tracing the chin across the collarbone, we'll move the ear over the right ear to the right shoulder. So still creating that tension, pulling the fists down towards the floor, and then taking that neck in a full circle back and around. Left ear to left shoulder. And then tracing that collarbone back to center. And we'll switch to the other side, over towards the left, head up and back, over to the right, and then back to center, and switching sides. Still creating that length through the arms. We'll do one more time. And then bringing the head back up, we'll just release the hands. And stepping the feet out a little bit wider. I'm just going to bring the camera back down. I've got this new tripod that I'm working with here. There we go. center here, we'll just bring the feet a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. We're going to move into a squat, so this can look different for everybody, so whatever is comfortable for you in a squat position, you can place your feet there. Some people like to do it the feet close together, and some people like to have them spread a bit wider apart, toes pointing out. So reaching the arms forward for a bit of balance here, we'll slowly lower into a squat. And using that strength through the legs that we worked on at the beginning of the class, we'll press into the feet, press into the legs, come back up. And then from here, maybe adjusting the feet 2 more times, we'll lower down and then press back up. And then 1 more time, lowering all the way down. And then from here, either placing the hands down behind you or just coming to sit down onto the mat. So we're going to create this 90-90 position with the legs. So my front leg is in a 90-degree angle, so my knees coming straight out from my hip. And then the same here, so my knees coming straight out from the hip but sideways, and then my foot's coming out from there. So I'm creating these 2 90-degree angles with my legs. And this might be a little bit tight, so you can place a block underneath your hip here, a pillow, a cushion, whatever you have, maybe some sweaters. And we're just going to rock forward into that front leg a little bit. Feel how that feels in the body. And then from here, we'll hold forward. And we're going to try and internally rotate that hip. So lifting that back foot up any amount and then lowering it back down. 3 more times, we'll lift, internally rotating the hip, lifting the back foot. 2 more. And 1 last time. And then reaching back, we'll just lean the body back. We're going to externally rotate, open that back hip, lower that knee back down. 2 more times. And then back to center. We'll lean forward a little bit and then over towards that front hip. And we'll try to lift the whole leg up and then lower it back down. 2 more times, lift and lower. And 1 last time, we'll lift. Opening that leg out to the side and then coming all the way around into this little gentle twist here. So the bottom leg can be out straight. That top leg, the ankle is crossed over the thigh. And we'll take the opposite arm and wrap it around that bent leg, finding a nice twist, lengthening through the top of the head, and then twisting towards that bent leg. And then back to center, we'll switch sides. So creating that 90-90 position with the legs. And then slowly rocking forward. Again, support underneath this hip, the spine too. Rocking forward and back, just seeing what that feels like in the hip. Today my hip wants to cramp up. And then from here, we'll hold forward a little bit and just try to internally rotate that leg. I'm going to move my arm so you can see, and then lower it back down. So we internally rotate, the hip, the foot comes up and down. 2 more times. And 1 last time. And then leaning back into the arms, we'll find external rotation through the hip and lower it back down. 3 more. For 2. And 1. And then shifting our weight forward again, over more onto that front hip. We'll lift the whole leg up and down 3 times. My hip doesn't cramp while we do this. For 2. And 1, holding it up, extending that leg out, bringing it forward to twist or to cross around that front leg. The front leg can extend out. We'll wrap that opposite arm around the bent knee and twist over towards the bent leg. One more breath, inhale to lengthen, and then exhale to twist. And then finding center again. We're just going to find, how much time we have? Good. We're just going to find a comfortable position where we're kneeling onto one knee and the opposite foot comes forward. So we'll tuck this knee under a little bit so that we're sitting on the heel. Actually, you know what? Let's not do this. We will come onto our backs. I think we just want to allow enough time to end the class before this live session ends. So from here, we'll just come into a nice seated position, reaching the arms forward, and then using that core work, the spinal work we did at the beginning of class, we'll start to engage through the core and slowly place the spine back down onto the floor. Reaching the arms up overhead, we'll lengthen the legs away from us. Taking a nice deep breath through the fingers all the way down to the toes. And then we'll bend through the legs. We'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh. So pressing that right knee away from you, imagining you're using your hand to press it away from you, but not actually using your hand, using the strength of that leg, and then bringing the left knee in towards the chest any amount. You can use the hands behind the leg or on the shin. And we'll just find a nice restorative, not so much restorative, but nice reclined position here in a figure 4 shape. And just holding here for a few more breaths. And then slowly unraveling, we'll switch sides. Left ankle over right leg. Again, pressing that left knee away from you as you bring the right knee in towards the chest. We'll grab onto the back of that leg. Again, breathing in this position that feels, you can feel a lot of it along the outside of that left leg. Noticing how your body feels here. And then slowly releasing this, we'll find a happy baby pose. So the knees come towards the armpits. We'll grab onto the outsides of the feet if we can. If not, grabbing onto the shins. And then from here, maybe finding a rock side to side. If our hands are on our feet, taking the thumb and pressing onto each toe towards the face. Giving your feet a little bit of love. And then we'll bring the knees in towards the chest, rocking from side to side again, like how we started. And then slowly, one by one, extending the legs out to a straight position along the mat. You can either stay here, or if it's more comfortable for your spine, bending the knees and just letting them knock together. Or if you're more open through the hips, maybe finding a triangle shape, diamond shape with the legs. And we'll be holding here for a few breaths. So just bringing the hands either down beside the body or to the belly, to the center, regrounding yourself. And once again, finding that sinking sensation into the floor. So the back of the head, the shoulders, the rib cage, pelvis, The sit bones and the legs, the feet, all grounded into the floor. We'll slowly wake up the feet and the hands and just wiggling through toes, the fingers. Reaching the arms up overhead and rolling onto one side of the body. And then pressing into the hands, we'll just come up to a seated position. And we'll just end the practice with 3 deep breaths. The hands can come over the heart. So inhaling and exhale to release. 2 more breaths. And one last one, inhale. Exhale to release. Thank you for joining me today, whether you join me live or in the future. Thank you so much. And this class is for the Banteay Srey project. So if you want to check out more information about that, you can head to the link in my profile and see what we're doing for them.